So, have you ever stopped and wondered what really counts as proof? I mean, is it some huge, spectacular event that no one can deny? Or is it something a little quieter, something that's been hiding in plain sight all along? Today, we are diving deep into a fascinating text that actually frames this whole question as a kind of divine debate. It's this incredible dialogue between human skepticism and a call to just see the world in a totally different way. We're going to explore some big questions about faith, about logic, and of course, that ultimate mystery: what happens next? Right out of the gate, the text hits us with this massive question. It's basically asking us to just look at the universe itself. The idea here is, before we start demanding special, flashy signs, maybe we should consider the biggest sign of all: the fact that anything exists in the first place. This really sets the whole tone for the argument to come, that the proof we might be searching for is already all around us. What makes this text so powerful is that it's not just a lecture. It's structured like a real conversation, almost like a debate. On one side, you have these really sharp, logical, skeptical questions. And on the other, you get these profound answers that don't just brush off the doubts, but actually try to shift your entire perspective. So let's break down that tension. Okay, let's get into the first major hurdle. And it's a demand that feels, well, pretty timeless, right? Show me a miracle. The people in this text, they're not just asking for some evidence. They're demanding a show, a huge, undeniable, on-demand spectacle of power. And boom, there it is, laid out as clear as day. The disbelievers are basically saying, look, if this message is for real, where are the fireworks? Where are the grand, undeniable miracles? Why isn't the prophet doing some kind of supernatural feat to prove his case? It's a very specific demand for a very specific kind of proof, the kind that would just erase all doubt. But the response here is, it's just fascinating. The text completely sidesteps the whole demand for a magic show. Instead, it clarifies the prophet's role. It's like saying, hey, I'm not a magician, I'm a clear warner. The power to create signs, it says, belongs to God and God alone. And that's a huge shift, right? It tells the audience, focus on the message, not the messenger's special effects. So, if on-demand miracles are off the table, then what's left? Well, this is where the text presents this beautiful counter-argument. The signs are already here. They're everywhere. We just have to, learn how to see them. And this captures that idea perfectly. The text points to the biggest signs you could possibly imagine: the origin of the entire cosmos from a single point, and the incredible life-giving power of water, the very foundation of every living thing we know. It's a profound thought, isn't it? Why ask for small, localized miracle when you're already living inside a colossal one? This line of reasoning then naturally leads us to the second big challenge from the skeptics. Because if they doubt the signs they can see in this life, you can bet they're even more skeptical about the promises for the next one, specifically this whole idea of resurrection. So when you break it all down, we're really looking at two core pillars of doubt here. The first is all about proof in the here and now. And the second is about the very possibility of life after death. Both questions are, at their heart, asking the same thing: what is truly possible? And here's that second question straight from the disbeliever's perspective. It's framed as just simple, common-sense logic. I mean, from a purely physical point of view, once a body has completely decomposed into dust and bones, how could it possibly be brought back? It feels like a one-way street, a totally irreversible process. The text's response, once again, is to completely reframe the concept. It suggests that death isn't some random, chaotic end. No, it's an orderly, managed transition. And it's overseen by a specific being, the angel of death. The implication here is pretty powerful. If the process of leaving this life is so deliberate and planned, then the return to the Creator must be just as intentional. Okay, so at this point, the whole conversation takes a turn. After dealing with all the intellectual doubts, the text shifts to the emotional and spiritual consequences. We're moving past the debate and into a vivid, really dramatic picture of what it describes as the Day of Judgment. And the image it paints, well, it's all about this profound, irreversible regret. It describes those who disbelieved as finally seeing the truth, the very truth they denied their entire lives. But they see it at the one moment when it is absolutely too late to do anything about it. This is the desperate plea the text says they make on that day. They're begging for a second chance, for a do-over, promising they'll get it right, they'll live righteously if they can just go back. It's a powerful picture of a moment when all the doubt is gone, but so is all the opportunity. The text then lays out this incredibly stark contrast of two final destinations. For the believers, it's an invitation to enter paradise. For the wrongdoers, it's facing the punishment of hell. And this isn't framed like a maybe or a possibility. It's presented as the direct, certain outcome of the choices that were made in life. So after this whole journey, through all the arguments, the counter-arguments, the consequences, the text brings us right back to this moment, to the present. It doesn't end with one last zinger of a proof. It ends with a warning, hammering home the point that for the person hearing this message, the choice is still theirs to make. And this final warning really has three parts. First, it's a stark reminder of the ultimate consequence. Second, it pulls from history, talking about past nations that faced destruction for their denial, but it ends on this really crucial third point, an emphasis on divine mercy. The message is that the door for repentance, for turning things around, is open now, before that final judgment comes. And so, this entire divine dialogue, it all really boils down to this one question. The text lays out two paths, and they're defined by two completely different ways of seeing the world. Do we demand extraordinary signs and stay skeptical about what comes next? Or do we learn to see the signs in the world as it already is and listen to the warning? The text doesn't answer that for us. It leaves that choice and that question with every single one of us.